Welcome to Daily Hope. We are in Jeremiah 25, and we are continuing our journey into the depths of understanding God's wrath, and with Jeremiah's help, understanding his wrath in the context of his unconditional and undying mercy. Let's pick up in verse 15. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, said to me. Take from my hand this cup filled with the wine of my wrath, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. This imagery of a cup holding God's wrath is a powerful one, and we'll come back to it in a minute. But first, what are we learning through Jeremiah about God's wrath? God's wrath refers to his absolute opposition to sin and evil. And thank God he is opposed to the evil and the corruption and the injustice in the world and in our life. God's wrath is real, severe, and personal. God's wrath is not capricious, but is always a moral and ethical response to sin, meaning that God is patient and warns humanity time and time again. In other words, God's wrath is not a flying off of the handle, a losing of his temper in a moment of rage. And we learn that in Jeremiah 13 that God grieves the need for his wrath. God does not delight in the death of the wicked, and he desires that none should perish. Well, and that leads us to his mercy. And understanding his wrath helps us understand the need for salvation. Not the need to be helped or the need to be improved a little, but the need to be saved. And we see his mercy in two places. First, we see it in verse 11 of this chapter, when God promises that after 70 years, the exiles of Jerusalem will return. And we see in Daniel chapter 9, verse 2, he picks up this promise that's here in Jeremiah 25:11, and he holds it as a promise of eventual and future renewal and revival for the people of Israel. That's God's hope and mercy. Even in his wrath, he's like, hey, you guys, it's going to be hard now, but eventually I'm going to bring you back. And number two, we see it in this imagery of the cup. That cup is like a hyperlink that connects us to the New Testament, where we see this happening with Jesus at the Last Supper, and he holds up the cup of wine and he says, this cup is my blood, the blood of the new covenant for the forgiveness of sin. And this is signaling that this wrath is what Jesus is dealing with, this righteous and appropriate wrath against sin and evil. Jesus is going to take it on himself. Look at how Jesus prays in Luke 22:42. He prays these astounding words. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. And Jesus surrenders himself to this cup of wrath, drinking it to the dregs, to the last drop, as he goes to the cross, absorbing in himself the judgment that was rightly deserved by all of us in himself, making a way through that wrath into salvation for all who believe and receive and join him. And so I want to just encourage you today, be encouraged. God's wrath is real, but his mercy has triumphed over judgment. God bless you. Have a great week.